With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool.
Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Become a part of the Horton team. We're looking for welders, painters, assemblers, machine operators, cabinet makers, and other positions to build emergency vehicles that help save lives. Join us at our hiring event on Wednesday, January 18th from 2 to 5 p.m. at 3800 McDowell Road in Grove City. We offer a huge $1,500 sign-on bonus and great benefits such as 401k match, medical coverage starting day one, and much more. For more information on what Horton can do for you, visit careers.revgroup.com and search Grove City.
Hello. Welcome into the Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures from the Baldwin Ace Hardware Fear Bunker Studio. Baldwin Ace Hardware, a beacon of DIY awesomeness in the Northland. Let's get after it. I need questions for Dear Meathead. My dad will join me in 57 minutes for another rip-roaring edition of Dear Meathead. If you have questions for Dad, please send them along. A couple might have slipped through the cracks, so if you don't hear yours, please don't be hurt. I have a couple sources that I gather the questions. Facebook, when I make the little post saying, hey, you got questions for Dad? Leave them here in the comments or send me an email. Eric@ericzaneshow.com is the preferred way. If you could just grab your mobile device, Eric@ericzaneshow.com, subject line Dear Meathead, and ask away with a question. Technically, I've got one in the hopper from Tim D, who is trying to trick his wife, trying to throw her off of the trail on something. He wants to know if it's okay to lie to his wife. We'll cover that. So send them along, Eric@ericzaneshow.com. Happy Fireversary to me. More on that later. One of the key players during the drama of Fireversary 4 years ago will join me on the show to discuss what was going through this person's mind on the day that it went down. Now, a lot of people, when they see Fireversary, they're like, oh, yeah, well, boy, 4 years ago is when he was fired from Free Beer and Hot Wings. It seems longer. Well, this is the Fireversary that it has nothing to do with that. Now, this is history. Fireversary is history. Free Beer and Hot Wings is ancient history. The Fireversary, the first one, in fact, the most important one, this one, is from the BBL show. Discuss some of that with you. Update on Damar Hamlin. This young man, 24 years old, went down like a ton of bricks in that Monday Night Football game. Story that's kind of captivated the whole world. His uncle spoke out. He spoke to CNN. We're going to hear from him right now as to some of the details. Audio check, video check. Damar Hamlin's uncle
It's heartbreaking seeing him like that, right? I mean, we were in Pittsburgh watching it on TV, and his little brother was there with us. And when he seen his brother drop like that, and when I tell you I never seen him cry or scream like that, like we were trying to calm him down, like, yo, it's okay, he'll gonna get back up, he'll be back in the game, woo. Next thing you know, it's 10 minutes later, they're doing chest compressions. It's a half hour later, they still not playing yet. I'm like, yo, what's going on? What's wrong with my nephew? And then, like, when I say, like, now we were all in the room crying, man, we were all in tears, man. And I'm not a crier, but like I never cried so hard in my life, man. Just to know like my nephew basically died on the field and they brought him back to life. I mean, that's just heartbreaking. And to see all those grown men crying and all the emotion, man, it really was a gut punch, man. And I would have been crying no matter who it was, but for it to be my nephew, it had that much more impact on me, man. And I'm just glad he's still alive and able to fight and trying to get better and recover.
You told me off camera your nephew died twice. Can you explain?
Well, his heart had went out, so they had to resuscitate him twice. They resuscitated him on the field before they brought him in the hospital, and then they resuscitated him a second time when he got to the hospital. So I just want to show my gratitude for the medical staff that were on hand, because if not for them, my nephew probably wouldn't even be here.
Wow. Oh, my God. Incredible. So I was watching the Today Show this morning, and they were discussing this exact thing on this dude. And what they do, once you get him to the hospital and then restart the heart, it comes back, it happens again. They bring him back. And then, now it hasn't happened since then, according to what the uncle said, or maybe it has. We don't know that. But I guess what they do is they sedate you to put you in a coma, I guess. And the idea is all they work on, or all they hope to cause to heal, is heart, lungs, brain. All right? And then it was described on TV that then they slowly will decrease the amount of oxygen that you're getting going through the tube, because they're trying to get him to breathe on his own. And then they slowly bring him out of the sedation to see if he'll start breathing again. And then, if it's not quite the way they want, they put him back down, put him back into more of a deeper sleep. I guess they put him on his tummy, face down. And the idea was it's easier for the lungs to operate when your body is in that position. I was reminded of something. This has happened before. A guy's name was Chuck Hughes. Played for the Detroit Lions. And this is before my time. But this is the scene in 1971. If you see this larger picture, Hughes was just same thing. He just went down. Look at Dick Butkus, the most feared man ever to play football. Probably is going to want to step on his neck here. Now, this guy did not survive. Happened in Detroit. He was a receiver, 28 years old, and he caught a pass, and he got hit by two defenders, Chuck Hughes did. And when that happened, a blood clot that he had from another condition, which they didn't know was even there, broke free. And that started this sequence of events that led to this guy having a cardiac arrest on the field. And he died. And, back then, I mean, that if you look at this, they didn't have any type of real medical services. Hell, they were just pounding on his chest I don't even think what they knew about CPR was the same as what they know now. Here they are working on the dude. And then this guy here in the plaid pants is just like, fuck it. And the sideburns, 1971. Holy shit. Can you believe the fashion? They're taking this dude off the field. Now, Chuck Hughes' wife is still with us today. And so is Chuck Hughes' son. Chuck Hughes' son is like my age. So, Mrs. Hughes was watching this unfold with Damar Hamlin. And she's like, oh, my God, I couldn't even go back to bed knowing whether or not this guy was, if he was, I needed an update, Mrs. Hughes was saying. But, yeah, so this has happened in the past, and I guess it brought all sorts of emotions back to her and the family. Of course, Chuck Hughes' kid was only one at the time, but he's, kind of like making the rounds now on this whole story. And, nothing but the best. Hopefully this guy will turn it around. The whole world is just responding to this thing. That charity, the kids' charity, was a big story. That Damar Hamlin has for the toys. And I tell you what, these kids are going to have a lot of great toys for a lot of years because of this. And hopefully he'll be able to get the news and be able to have a normal life. I don't know. In a lot of people's brains, they might be like, boy, I wonder if he'll ever be able to play football again. I don't think anybody's really thinking about that, but it has come up. Yuri Fisher of the Detroit Red Wings, who I had on my show on BBL, speaking of Fireversary, years ago. I forgot why we had him on, but we had him on, and he's the guy, same thing. Heart stopped on the bench, Red Wings game. It was an awful situation. It was really tight, cramped quarters behind the bench, and they had to administer CPR right there with all the fans looking down on him. Oh, my God. And they ended up canceling the game. Fisher survived, never played hockey again. They determined that there is a heart issue there and not safe to ever play the game again. But, my God. Hang on, coffee. Got to drink it. Stand by. It's got more. There was a lot. Okay. Today is the last set of shows until Tuesday of next week. I'm working meticulously on Not the Best of the Eric Zane Show podcast. All right. I have that. I've been working my ass off and getting those shows together, which, in fact, has kind of limited me. There's only so many hours in the day, and being a one-man show, something's got to give. And what has given has been my 1 week ago plan for running in preparation for my half marathon on Saturday morning at the crack of dawn, well before the crack of dawn, at the Magic Kingdom. And now it's more like, just fuck it. I'm not doing a fucking thing. Now I've like steadfastly planted my flag, and I don't give a shit. I'm just going there to make it, trudge my way through 13.1 miles, get a picture with Mickey, picture with Snow White, picture with any other Disney character I can wrangle on the course, because they're actually on the course. Mile marker, and there's Pluto and Goofy running around, and Snoopy or whatever the fuck. Is Snoopy a Disney? Snoopy's not a Disney character. What the fuck is wrong with me? Snoopy. What an asshole. All right. So there you go. Again, dear Meathead questions. Eric at ericzaneshow.com. I'm going to need you to answer the call. Chris has sent one. He wrote, Dear Meathead, hey guy, one of my New Year's resolutions is not to drink for the month of January. I found out a lot of people are doing this. It's called Dry January. My question is, what advice would you give those of us who are doing Dry January? Thanks and Happy New Year. It's a great question. Send them along. Eric at ericzaneshow.com. Subject line, Dear Meathead. 44 minutes to Meathead. All right. 4 years ago today, at this moment, I was in my car driving away from the radio station. I had fallen ill. I threw up at 7 a.m. It was a show with myself, Ben Glaze, and Sam Mills. We were all in the studio. Sam would visit from time to time. Sam was at a point in her career where she wanted to be on the radio. So she had left, what do you call it? Town Square across the street, left that Connie and Curtis show. Connie, God rest her soul. Got out of radio for a period of time, back in radio. Now she's trying to get back on the air. And so she had a kind of like a behind the scenes job at Cumulus, but strong talent and funny. She would come up and we'd just have a good time, laugh on the air. Happened all the time. Oh no, I don't feel good. Vomit. Okay. We had some comedian coming in at 8 a.m. from Dr. Grins. Right about the time that guy got there, I barfed again. Leading up to this, the days leading up to this, Lori Bennett, the boss there, I'd noticed she seemed no longer interested in show-related things. And it didn't dawn on me then. But looking back on it, she seemed disinterested in what was going on the show. And this was different because she was always interested in what was going on the show, to a point where it was it was micromanaging. And I don't even say that to be insulting. It's just the way it was. Canceling air check sessions is a red flag because Lori would, gather around, guys. You have to sit with me for an hour while I listen to your audio. So that's what an air check is. And they're horrible. You have to, so we go on the air and talk for like 15, 20 minutes, Ben and I, and then we play some commercials. On a show like ours, where you have that long of talk segments, it's difficult to quote unquote air check. Air checks should be, typically they used to be, before long form conversation started to happen on the radio, where, you've got a 2.5 minute segment where the highly planned and scripted and fake laugh and bullshit like that. Working on your word economy. Another program director bullshit. Working on incorporating the you factor. Okay, that's what air checking is all about. So, but what it was for us with long form conversation, when you're doing top of mind stuff and talking about current events, or there's some conflict between you or something going on the air or some bit of drama, none of that's scripted. None of that is pre-planned. You're just doing it. So it's very difficult to air check that type of content. But yet there we were in her office, Ben and I sitting there as uncomfortable as fuck, with Lori listening, just looking at the ground, not cracking even the slightest smile at shit that I know was funny. And we're like, this is so fucking awkward. What the fuck is going on here? And she'd sit there and listen. And then the segment would end. And more often than not, she would say, okay, guys, and then offer like nothing. Just like, okay, all right, sounds like we're going in the right direction here. And we're like, what the fuck? I mean, why do we have to do this? It was horrible, but we had to do it. Well, that stopped leading up to the firing. And it's like, oh yeah, hey, your air check session's canceled for today. Yeah, I got a lot going on. And that should have been a red flag to me. She doesn't. It's because she doesn't give a shit anymore because we're about to get fired. They're going to change the format of the radio station. Also, leading up to that, there was rumblings at the radio station that something big was going to happen. You know, the country station had been on 94.5, and then BBL was on 107.3. And this new general manager named Bruce came in, and he was like a hot shot. And I had cornered him a couple times about, hey, why don't you put a rock station on 107.3? You should put a rock station on, or do something. We need to be put sports on the AM where it belongs, because no one gives a shit about sports talk radio. No offense, Bill, but it's true. And then put a rock station on. And, I'm like leaning into that, hoping that some of that'll stick, but I'm not sure. Little do I know. They already have a plan. The plan was take the 94.5 country station and move it to 107.3 and fire everybody on 107.3. And then on 94.5, put like fucking new age hippie rock. And everything's like piped in, you put like all these, maybe one or two local jocks, all pre-recorded. Money-saving effort. It's all bullshit. So then I see Lori in the hallway. Hi, Eric. And then she just keeps walking. Hey. She's clomp, 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 clomp. She used to wear these spike gigantic heels. I'm sure she still does. I mean, and you could hear her walking down the hallway and think, uh-oh. And everyone in the building would know it. And like, it was always tricky when you hear the heels hitting the floor. Everybody's like, uh-oh, she's moving. Where's she going to go? What's going to happen? What awkward interaction is going to take place? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Fuck me. So, all right. No big deal. And what's interesting about Lori is when she started, she was different than when I got fired. Because when she started, for a long period of time, there was like a honeymoon period where you thought it was going to be a wonderful relationship. She's going to be the type of GM, or not GM, operations manager, who lets everybody spread their own wings and figure things out like they're supposed to. Everybody will be able to do their job. And then one day, like the flipping of a switch, she became like this hard ass who is micromanaging. And we're like, oh, fuck. We were duped. We were convinced that it was going to be okay, and it's not okay. And so then for the rest of the tenure there in BBL, we were incredibly micromanaged. Oh, shit. I used to have to, before, when I would do a show, I would like, write down what we're going to talk about as we're getting ready to start the show. Which is what I do now. I spend, when the show finishes, like this show finishes, I then have 22 hours to figure out what the hell I'm going to talk about leading up to the next day's show. And that's what you're supposed to do. Because you let the day unfold, you go to bed, you wake up, you see where the news cycle's brought you, where your brain is, you file it all, you write it down, and boom, you're off and running. It's simple. Lori wanted me to physically write it down on a document, every single thing I'm doing, and send it to her. And I had to write out my teases. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I've never had to do this. So before I went to bed, I had to send an email with all of this shit. And I'm like, and I'm trying to convince myself that this is great and this is appropriate. And all right, I guess, but it still sucked. It was micromanaging. It was painful. But whatever. She suddenly no longer gives a shit. And I should have picked up on it. So back to the day. I barfed for the second time. I announced to Sam and Ben, I go, well, it's the Sam and Ben show. Enjoy yourselves. I'm leaving. I send a text to Lori. I'm really sick, and I'm going home. Red flag number 2. No response. Typically, it's like, all right, I actually need to see you to determine if your face is of the right color to go home. And so we'll have to meet at a clandestine location, or perhaps you could do FaceTime. If you could, when you get to the doctor's office, I need to speak with your doctor. It's that level of micromanaging. Nothing. No interaction whatsoever. At the time, I thought, that's weird. But what she was doing was she took that information and she reached out to Bruce and said, uh-oh, today is D-Day. Today's the day that we're flipping the format and all these fuckers are getting fired. And the guy, the main guy we have to fire just left. Ah, shit. So I drive home. Pull in the driveway. And I remember thinking, it's probably a good idea to very quickly, as these people see me walk in the door and they don't expect me, just say, hey, I'm ill. I didn't get fired. I actually had that thought. My son's wife at the time, girlfriend Aubrey, was there. Well, Jim and Aubrey lived there at the time with the kids, my grandkids. Come walking in and see Aubrey. I go, hey, don't worry. I didn't get fired. Can you believe that? That's another Zane Adamas thing. Hey, don't worry. I didn't get fired. But I was. Go upstairs. Dan goes, what are you doing here? I go, don't worry. I didn't get fired. I'm sick. I have to go to bed. Oh, okay. All right. No clue whatsoever. Pause the story because back up. These things are popping into my head again as 4-year Fireversary happening right now. There was a moment in that week leading up. Okay, so we return from work from the new year, and then January 4, we get fired. There was a period. Again, we're leading up to this big meeting where there's going to be an announcement about the radio station. So we were all excited about that. Where I was in that studio, all the studios are wired together. And if you hit a certain button, I can hear a conversation in other studios. If they're in the room talking shit about you and they close the door, I can hit a button and hear their conversation. And I don't know if that was intentional, but I discovered it by accident. So Tony Gates, who now is no longer in radio on LAV, he walks by, and we started having a conversation about the upcoming change with what we anticipate is going to happen, like I was telling you. And then he goes into his studio, and he closes his door. And that was a red flag. I was like, why is he closing his door? Because he never closes his door. In fact, there was a time during my time there at BBL that I requested that they close the door because they always scream and yell at each other on the show, and it bleeds through into our studio through the producer's mic, which has an open door. We share a room. And that was like a international event because I simply asked to close the door because Tony's a psychopath. But anyway, I digress. He goes in there, he closes the door, and I go, well, that's weird. So I go into my studio, and I hit that button I was telling you about, and I hear a conversation. And they're talking about, yeah, he has no idea. And about format flips and shit. They're basically saying what's going to happen. They are aware. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I heard it all. I should have processed it. I should have known it was coming, but it didn't imprint. So when they actually did fire me, I was surprised. I swear to God I was. I should have immediately have gone on the air and started talking shit about them or something. I don't know what the fuck I should have done. But I should have been well aware, but I swear I had dismissed all of what I had just heard. So as we're leading up to that day where the format flip is going to take place, I'm anticipating it's going to be a great day. I'm going home sick. And they had called an afternoon meeting to announce some type of changes. And we were all looking forward to it. I had a conversation with Sam Mills, and I was like, hey, they're not going to fire. Actually, it did occur to me to some degree. They're not going to fire us, are they? They're not going to flip it. No, she said, no, come on now. We did not believe that at all. So I go home, I'm laying there sick. And then I notice that my phone is vibrating. Like, psst. A little bit of time passes. And it's under the pillow, and I can feel it, and it's waking me up. Oh, shit. What the fuck is going on? Who wants me? And then I look at the text messages, and it's Sam. Marcus and Ben just got fired, and they're looking for you. Oh, no. Oh, fuck. I was freaked out. One of the buzzes, the vibrating, was a message left for me by this guy, Bruce. And Crystal. I wonder if I still have that. I don't think I do. I reached out to Crystal today, who was part of the firing. No, I don't have it. And I said, I go, do you still work for Cumulus? Yes. I go, okay, never mind. I was going to have you on the show to discuss Fireversary. I called. I'm laying there, and Bruce is a very nice man. Eric, we're flipping the format of 1073, and we have no place for you, so we're going to let you go. Sorry I have to do it over the phone. I understood. I said, no big deal. I've been fired before. I'm not, it's fine. It was so not a big deal. But that's where it gets really wonky. Because at this point, I'm like, well, okay, thank you. I'll swing by in a day or two and get my headphones or whatever the fuck. All I have is a Facebook page. Months prior, I had thought something was bubbling under when Ben and I got in that fight. And I thought I was going to get fired. So I prepared like my website and the Patreon. I had that ready to go. still no real organization of how the podcast would work out. And I didn't have any intention while laying there sick and did not think anything about a daily show and this being a source of income and sponsors. None of that even crossed my mind. Didn't know how, really. Hell, the first several shows were with a cell phone and a teeny tiny notebook computer with no computing power whatsoever. So, where was I? Shit. Oh, I go to my Facebook page and I leave a, I did a Facebook Live about everybody got fired. And I announced Ben, myself, Marcus, and I said Bill Simonson got fired. But Bill did not get fired. Bill had known that he wasn't getting fired. And I'm 99.5% sure Bill knew I was getting fired. Now, I don't hold that against him. That's kind of the nature of the beast. He didn't do anything. He just kept his mouth shut, which is rare. But I announced that we all got fired. Bill announces, I'm not going anywhere. You're going to hear the huge show. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So then after a little bit of time, I go back to my Facebook page and I'm locked out of it. I don't have access to my Facebook page, which when I arrived at BBL, I had already had established my own Facebook page, my Facebook fan page. It's mine. But remember I told you about Lori and the micromanaging? Months earlier, she's like, I need you to put me in charge of your Facebook page. And I agreed to do it. And that was a mistake. Because this is where I started to hate on Lori. She was always annoying, but I started to hate her when she locked me out of my Facebook page. So I called Bruce. Bruce, she locked me out of my Facebook page. I need her to let me back in, and I need her to take herself off as an admin right now. Okay, hang on. I'm on hold for 10 minutes. He comes back. Yeah, he makes up some excuse why it's not happening. Yeah, I don't know where she is. And I'm like, Bruce, this is my lifeline. This is all I have. I can't take no for an answer here. Give me my Facebook page back yesterday. This is wrong. Nothing. Hours pass. God damn it. Now I got to call my lawyer, get him involved in all this bullshit. He has to call Bruce. Finally, that jackass, I find out I didn't get notified or anything. I just happened to look and suddenly I'm back in charge and she is finally off it. That pissed me off so bad. Oh my God. And that led to this. That was a Friday, January 4th, 2019. Sunday, January 6th, in the evening, I sat here, did this podcast. I talked about the Patreon. Ton of people signed up for the Patreon. That bought me the time that I needed to think. Because when I left BBL, I got my last check. That was it. There was no big buyout or any of that shit. It was just, see you later. Whatever. Good riddance. Had no idea what the fuck I was going to do. It was starting this podcast, and then it might have been an audience member suggesting you should just do it every day and then try to build it. And it hit me like a bolt from the blue, I did a few podcasts in a row consecutively, and then I was on a walk with the dogs, and then I said, I think that, I'm going to give it a go. At this point, Don Veltman from Back Alley Comedy Club reached out and said he wanted to sponsor the show. He was my first sponsor of this show and this current setup. Rick from TC Paintball was too, still a sponsor today. Also early in that, Irvine's A&E Heating and Cooling. Henry Steffes. Remember Henry? Several others. And it was enough to cobble together time. I was just looking to buy time. All right, I have this money coming in, which will keep us funded for a month. 2 months. Okay, now I have 3 months, and if I do nothing else, if I do not lift another finger, we will be able to survive for 3 months. So I kept lifting my finger, and slowly but surely built it. And wow, fucking A, thank you. I appreciate your support for helping populate it. If it hadn't been for you, because sticking with those early shows especially was incredibly important. I frankly was still figuring out how to do a monologue style show. It's not easy. You have to put your brain in a frame of mind of speaking with no one talking to you for 2 hours. At the time, I was looking back on some of those old podcasts, and they're like 15 minutes long, 20 minutes long. And oh boy, just trying to figure it out. And then as more and more sponsors came in, it just was able to establish itself, I guess. Looking back on some of the comments from the moment when I was listening to Tony and Michelle talk about your old pal Eric Zane, Kenny writes, they can be referring to me. Oh, well. Ryan, did you not pick up on it at all? Like I said, I think I did, and I had a pit in my stomach. And then, honestly, I would turn on the microphone again and do our show, and I would forget about it. Ryan says, I love the idea that of all her rehearsal of the great firing, and you walked out the door on her screwing her little plans. She is still there to this day. And I have been none too nice to our old pal Lori over the years. I started referring to her publicly as the Cersei Lannister of radio. If you know Game of Thrones, you know what that reference is. And then, full disclosure, there was a moment that we worked together, and she said to me that she was hurt by some people years ago because they said she looked like Steven Tyler from Aerosmith, which I'm like, fuck. You don't want to say that to me because that's going to stick in my brain. You never want to let someone know where your goat has been gotten, especially an asshole like me. So after she tried to steal my Facebook page, that's all it took. Then every time I have an opportunity, I'm posting a picture of Steven Tyler and saying that the Cersei Lannister of radio has struck again and shit like that. And I know for a fact that message hit the mark. And there was a couple other things that I know it was bad. So at that point, we're sworn enemies. She's still there to this day. There was a moment in time when I was trying to get the LAV job after Tony got shit canned. And I sent a letter saying, hey, sorry about all that shit talk. And she did not respond. That was like, there's no fucking way. And they ended up going with somebody else. Nice guy, too, who was the new guy in there. His name was Greg. But that's kind of it. That's where that's where it's been. And since that day, January 4, 2019, it has been wash, rinse, repeat. with no micromanaging, no red tape, just me and the stupid microphone and the puppy dogs. There's been some hiccups along the way with all of the Zaniac nonsense. Oh, God, lessons learned, to be sure. But we're still standing and actually stronger than ever. And so I couldn't be happier. Thank you. More on this in a bit. I will have one of the key players from all of that drama join me. All right. Questions for Dear Meathead once again. Eric at ericzaneshow.com. Holy shit. I still have just 2 questions. This may be the shortest episode of Dear Meathead. Need I remind you? Dad will be 89 in March. I don't want to sit around and make up fake questions. I would rather have you tap your brain about what's going on in your life and send me a question. Simple. A simple, short question. Hey, Meathead, what do you think about blank? Hey, Meathead, I need my garage door repaired. What should I do? If you start to take Meathead for granted, there is going to come a day when you're like, damn, I miss him. I should have listened to Eric and sent a question when he asked for that type of engagement from the audience. So I'm just giving you a little pep talk. He's not going to be here forever. There is going to come a day when we will not be talking to my dad. And I would say it's the near future. So don't let this opportunity slip by. What are you doing? You have an opportunity to ask my dad, an absolute legend, who's been with us for years now, a question on Dear Meathead. Eric at ericzaneshow.com. Thank you. One of the things that's kept the podcast going strong has been Patreon. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. With more podcasting after the podcasting gets done. Ad-free, listener-supported Patreon. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. Yesterday on Smarter Than a Former Drug Dealer Trivia, we had an exceptional M. Night Shyamalan plot twist. No bullshit. You got to hear it. The contestant is connected to Dale in the weirdest of ways. And Dale really comes out of his shell with this contestant named Russ. And it's fantastic. It's really nice. It's a nice thing that happened. Dale blossoming before our eyes with his sobriety and being on the right side of the law is another outstanding story that it has a lot to do with the show. I'm not saying we caused him to get sober, but we've been able to follow along with all of his adventures because of his commitment to living life appropriately, not behind bars. And that had impact on Smarter Than a Former Drug Dealer Trivia yesterday on Patreon. So 11 bonus shows per week, most weeks. Not this week, but most weeks. Because we'll be skipping the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast and Who Are These Zanes this week because of time. And I'm leaving for till Tuesday. But anyway, patreon.com/Eric Zane. You got the Lost Zane recordings, a daily Patreon bonus, Smarter Than a Former Drug Dealer Trivia, the Insane Asylum, which I believe just dropped. I had done it ahead of time. It's there. That's my 2-hour music-driven radio show on Northern Michigan's Q100. Of course, the Lost Zane recordings, old shows from BBL, as I release them in order twice a week. The aforementioned Who Are These Zanes and the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. That's a lot of podcasting for $5 or $10 a month. Be part of the Patreon crew. By the way, I guess on Patreon this week, Zanadamus struck again. this happens a lot with me, where I say something. I don't necessarily make a bold prediction like this is going to happen, but it's said, and then it happens. The day before I was fired from Free Beer and Hot Wings, I said on the radio, and I don't have the clip in front of me, but I said on the radio, I don't know the context, but I said, I'm going to get fired, and I'm going to do a podcast called the Eric Zane Show Podcast from my house. I think I said from my basement. I don't know why I said it, and obviously the event had not yet happened yet, the shot clock incident that would lead me down to the next day, making fun of Joel's pants, and then for that heinous act of doing that, getting fired. But I predicted it in a weird way. That happened again on Monday of this week, and I'm going to play it for you. It happened on Patreon. I wasn't even aware of it. Somebody had to tip me off about it. Tag Accounting, 616-301-9516. The accountant of choice. You should have your taxes done by Troy Ginzer. Tag Accounting, certified public accountant. Accounting and tax services. Okay, so let's just say you're Joe Blow and you have your job and you earn a bunch of money, and then it's time to do your taxes. You're going to get a bunch of money back. To get the most money back, Tag Accounting. You call Troy, 616-301-9516. A member of his helpful staff will answer the phone. Yes, I'm brand new. Eric Zane sent me. I want Troy to do my taxes this year. You're going to pay him north of $100 to do your return, and then that's it. To begin that process, you'll have to upload a couple documents from the previous tax year to their online portal. They'll give you all the instructions you need to do that. Very easy. Just do what they tell you. And then you get a little note that says, hey, we are doing your taxes on February 8th at 10 a.m. Please keep your phone handy. If we have any questions for you, we will pass those along. Before that happens, you're uploading your W-2s and the usual shit. He already has your tax history because you sent that along. And then he does your taxes. And then he says, good news. You earned this much. You're getting this much money back. We're sending it right to your bank account. Done and done. That way, you don't have to sit there number crunching, getting pissed off, screaming at your wife, getting shit-faced drunk. Hey, honey, I did the math. We're getting back $15 million. I think you might have done that wrong, dumbass. Also, tax services, if you want to establish an S-Corp, LLC, whatever it may be, or your business. He could be the accountant for your business. He does that for me. Troy helped me because he made what this is into what's known as an S-Corp. This is the extent of my knowledge about this shit. Eric, you need an S-Corp. And I go, okay, does that help me? Yes. All right. And then he explains it all to me. And then I go, stop. I don't care. Why? Because you're doing it. That's why I'm paying you, right? Yeah. Okay, good. If I need shit, just let me know. If I have to sign shit, let me know. Otherwise, you're in charge. And then I pay him a few bucks a year, and he's in charge of the S-Corp. It's the Eric Zane Show Podcast Accounting Department is what that is. Tag Accounting, 616-301-9516. Bennett Flooring Installation, Jacob Bennett, another longtime sponsor. 616-318-0167. I salute you. Thank you for believing in me so long ago. If you want your flooring installed right, call upon Bennett Flooring Installation, 616-318-0167. If you're in West Michigan, that's who you call. You'll get it done right the first time, and it'll be the least amount that you will spend to get flooring installed professionally. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Darwin from Johnson Carpet One Discount Outlet in Granville, Michigan. Run by his right-hand man, Kent, drop the E, add a U. The discount outlet is one of two stores. The main showroom is just down the street. That's where you can walk in and get an espresso. You take off your shoes. They put slippers on you and red carpet treatment. Discount outlet, march in there with your old Silverado pickup truck and say, yeah, I need 1,500 square feet. Put it on the truck. The best-selling brands and styles are on the floor. You pick them off the pile, put them in your truck, and go home. They buy the shit in bulk and set it up there, and you pay a lot less than anywhere else in the entire state because I buy so much of it. Mohawk, Shaw, carpets, tile, laminate, vinyl plank, hardwood, ceramic. Johnson Carpet One Discount Outlet. Mention my name. Save 10% off of the already lower than crazy amount price you have there. All right, I'm already behind massively. Trying to put this all together. I'm going to rattle off these next three sponsors. I'm going to play for you Zane Adamas, and then I'm getting Dad in here. First of all, advertise with me. Reach out, Eric at ericzaneshow.com. Put your business in front of the audience. Thousands of people every week listen to this show. Be part of it. Send me an email, and I'll tell you how it works. Eric at ericzaneshow.com. Like Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid, and EV. Thank you to them. Years ago, we got started, and here we are today. Okay, early bird drop-off, late bird pickup, free rental cars, the best service technicians in all of the state, constantly being re-educated, family-owned, lady-owned, veteran-owned. So the whole family is there. You got Jamie. She's the big swinging ding-dong. She is a veteran. She owns 99%. Her husband, Eric, fixes the cars. He owns 1%. He's in charge of all the techs. Numerous people that work with him. Daughter, Megan, this empire will one day be hers, is one of the smiling faces that helps make sure that you are scheduled and ready to go and booked. And, oh, my God, get you that loaner car. They're the best. 616-532-6600. We eat at Bosco's Pub. Oh, I can't say it. I want to say it, but I can't say it. I got to resist the urge to tip you off to something cool, but so I am. Sorry. Sometimes things pop in my brain. Bosco's Pub in Hudsonville, Michigan. Love them so much. Go get a burger, go get a cold beer, go get a stiff drink, and a stiff ding-dong at Bosco's Pub. My Policy Shop Insurance, Frank Fuss. Have Frank help you with your Obamacare selection. 616-914-4070. He's also the licensed independent insurance agent / broker to help you every step of the way with Medicare and Social Security or any type of insurance. What I'm telling you is, if you need any type of insurance, call Frank and he will help you every step of the way. His services are free. That's the best part. I love saying that. 616-914-4070. Okay, it's time to cut through the clutter with all of the information about online betting. MyBookie. That's all you need to know. MyBookie. New year, new you. When I say new you, I mean because you're going to MyBookie. Give yourself a fresh start with MyBookie. Whether you bet to earn, which some people do because they're good at it, or just to have some fun. MyBookie gives you the most for your money with their redesigned deposit bonus. Just use promo code ZANE on a deposit of $50 or more to receive a cash bonus instantly to your MyBookie account. Try it out. MyBookie. Promo code ZANE. Using this bonus is simple. Bet your deposit amount just once and you're ready to cash out. It's no strings attached with MyBookie. Promo code ZANE. Bet on the NFL, UFC, play for a share of big cash prizes in the weekly online blackjack tournaments. You name it, MyBookie has you covered. With so many brands to choose from, you need a platform that makes it simple to bet and win. Like MyBookie. Promo code ZANE. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Become a part of the Horton team. We're looking for welders, painters, assemblers, machine operators, cabinet makers, and other positions to build emergency vehicles that help save lives. Join us at our hiring event on Wednesday, January 18th from 2 to 5 p.m. at 3800 McDowell Road in Grove City. We offer a huge $1,500 sign-on bonus and great benefits such as 401k match, medical coverage starting day one, and much more. For more information on what Horton can do for you, visit careers.revgroup.com and search Grove City.
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Before I bring Dad in, all right? This happened on Monday. This is what's being described as a Zane Adamas moment. We all know what happened Monday night with Damar Hamlin. Monday during the day, I heard from Patreon member Michael. He said, Zane Adamas, you kind of called the Damar Hamlin problem, the thing that happened to him. And I was like, wait, what? What are you talking about? He goes, yeah, cardiac arrest. And I'm like, wait, I honestly do not remember. Quite often when I do the show, I don't have a recollection of the things I say. So, holy crap, I was like, weird. He writes, haven't listened to the Tuesday podcast yet to see if you referenced it. But would yesterday's Patreon be somewhat of a Zane Adamas moment when you were talking about the NFL player going into cardiac arrest from a hit? Talking about Damar Hamlin. And I wrote, did I mention something like that? I don't recall. I rarely remember. He says, and then I found it. And I wrote, oh my God. He says, just the fact that you said the words cardiac arrest when you were talking about a football injury. So this is what he's referring to. It was when Kayvon Thibodeau hammered Nick Foles on the field of the Indianapolis Colts. Saying he's dead. Holy shit. Watch this.
Third down for, here comes Thibodeau.
Look at
Thibodeau with the sack. Back at the 41.
Okay, I think he's having some type of seizure, perhaps. I think he hit him so hard, he's seizing. Oh, my God. And
third down for, here comes Thibodeau. Thibodeau.
Okay, so now watch this. If you think, well, maybe he doesn't know because he's looking straight up in the air. Okay, all right.
Back at the 41.
But his teammates going, yeah, good job. Meanwhile, Foles is going into cardiac arrest, it looks like. I don't know. Of all the things to say, that was Michael's point. You actually said cardiac arrest, which is the term that has been talked about as what happened to Damar Hamlin. Cardiac arrest. Of course. Whatever you do, don't talk about that on any large platform because then everybody will want to kick my ass like fucking Skip Bayless. All right. It is time for Dear Meathead. Brought to you by Baldwin Ace Hardware. Baldwin Ace Hardware, a beacon of DIY awesomeness. A fifth in the Northland.
Morning.
Hey, Dad.
How you doing?
Good morning to you. How's it going?
Oh, not too bad.
Yeah?
You got clouds on your end of the world?
It's a little cloudy here. You got the same thing?
Oh, this is totally blocked up. I mean, it's a fog, but I barely can see across the street.
Well, yeah, that's what happens sometimes. You get a little foggy. Yeah, that's kind of creepy, isn't it?
That really is. I haven't seen that in a while.
You should. Well, yeah. That's sometimes a problem. In fact, where I am, Dad, last night we had thunder and lightning.
Oh, really?
Yes. For some reason, things were weird up there, and it started giving us a little thunder and lightning action.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Dad, did you see the story about the football player who had a heart attack on the field?
Yes, I did. That's a shame. Is he all right?
Well, they're still evaluating him, and I guess this might take a little time for him to come around.
Did he get hit?
Yeah, he was tackling the guy, and then, I mean, it looked like any type of tackle that you'd see a million times, and so that was why it was kind of strange. All of a sudden, this poor guy's on the ground, and he had a heart attack.
Wow. Young guy.
Yeah, he's 24 years old. What the hell?
I don't get it.
There was a dude for the Red Wings that had that happen to him a number of years ago.
I remember that. That was same scenario.
Yep, exact same. And he survived. He's still he doesn't play hockey. He never played hockey again, but thank God that he's okay, you know.
I think getting hit in the chest has a lot to do with that.
I do too. Yeah, sometimes you take a shot right where your heart is, and your heart might kind of like have a hiccup or whatever the hell. And
oh my God!
Oh Jesus!
A young guy. That's a shame.
Yeah,
that really is a shame.
I sure hope that he comes around and everything's going to work out just fine. You know.
I hope so. I pray to God that he'll be all right.
Right on.
Wow.
Okay, Dad. So we're just a few days removed from our terrific get-together party that we had. Me, you, Joanne, Diana, Kevin, Cece the dog. It was...
That was great.
Oh, it was...
That was great.
Yes.
And you're cooking. Holy cow.
Yeah, I love doing that. I think that's a real passion of mine, and I love making food.
I couldn't believe you were so involved in that.
Oh yeah, you guys were enjoying the football game and eating hors d'oeuvres and having a and I was like, oh,
we just finished everything that you cooked.
I know it. You had some leftovers, and that's the way it should be. It's nice to have someone cook for you, and then you can just relax and spend time. And I like those types of settings when it's just a handful of people together.
Well, I was amazed at your involvement in cooking. I really was.
When there's like 24 people there, it makes it hard because you can't really talk to anyone.
No, I know that you're concentrated, and then kept on going. You were like a little bunny rabbit.
Yes. And I'm just
delicious. We finally. I mean, you cook so damn much.
Well, yeah, we that leg of lamb had made those. You can actually chop that up and make sandwiches out of it.
Yeah. Well, we can't do nothing now. We ate it all.
Good for you. Good for you.
We didn't waste none of it.
That makes me happy.
Thank you. I want to thank you, Joanne. Thanks you for that beautiful, delicious meal.
Especially thank you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. She's always on her feet. She needs to take a break.
I know.
Dad, we saw the Lions destroy the Bears, and now the Lions they have one more game, and they got a outside chance of making the playoffs. Did you hear that, Dad?
I heard that, but why is it that they say an outside chance? They sound strong.
They sure do. There's one playoff spot, and there's just 3 teams left that have a chance at it. So the one team, Seattle, they've got the best chance.
Really?
Yeah. And so if the Lions beat the Packers, and I think that they can, even if the Lions beat the Packers and Seattle wins, the Lions will not be able to make the playoffs because Seattle beat the Lions earlier in the year. It's called a tiebreaker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but if Seattle lays an egg and the Lions win, then the Lions can get in. So the two things we have to pray for. Early in the day, the Seattle plays Los Angeles.
And get beat.
Yeah, if they lose, the Lions are playing the night game. They moved that game to the prime time slot because it could have huge implications. So then at the start of that game, they will know whether or not they have a shot of getting in. So if they lose, that means that game turns into like a playoff game.
Didn't one of our guys get hurt of that game?
In the Lions game?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I was busy.
No?
I was busy making dinner.
Something sticks in my mind that somebody got hurt.
No, that was the one you already.
Yeah, maybe you're thinking of the football player who went down from Buffalo.
Oh, that's right.
DeMar
That's
Hamlin.
right.
All right. Let's see here. I've got some questions for you from this amazing audience. And you know what?
All right. Amazing people.
Yeah, they sure are. They sure are. Let me see what I got.
I want to tell them how I care for these people that you got there. They are awesome people.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. They're the best. Tim D. writes, Dear Meathead.
What's the name?
Tim.
Tim.
Yeah.
Okay.
He writes, Dear Meathead, my wife turns 40 in February.
God bless her.
Yeah, she's happy birthday to her, and he's planning.
Yes.
He's planning a big thing. He wants to fly her cousin in for the party from California.
From where?
From California, and
okay.
And so he says, Meathead, my problem is keeping it a secret. Is it okay to blatantly lie to my wife so that I can keep the secret so it'll be a surprise?
Yeah, why not? This is just a little lie. I mean, God. It's a good secret.
Yes, it's a good lie.
Don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, surprise is a surprise. Keep it as a surprise.
Yeah, it's not like he's lying, like he's cheating on her or stealing money from her or sleeping with kids.
No. Go lie. Lie twice.
Yes, double lie. Really lie. In order to keep that.
Yeah, don't say nothing.
Nah, just keep your mouth shut.
That's right.
I agree with you. Absolutely.
Somebody knock on the door. Oh, my God, look who's here.
Oh, wow, it's a surprise.
What a surprise. Come on in.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I asked you this one. Maybe I did. Would you ever tell me if you didn't like a meal that I made?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Everything was on my plate. I ate it.
Right, I know. But if, let's say, I made you something and it tasted like a shoe, would you tell me?
No. Well, yeah, I would.
Yeah, you would.
I say, cook it some more.
Yeah.
Cook it a little longer.
All right.
What, did somebody tell you that about your cooking?
No. She just wanted to know.
No.
Tom writes, Ruben, can you still sit down and eat a whole loaf of bread by yourself?
Oh, my God. I don't think so. I'd eat quite a bit of bread, but not a loaf. Well, maybe a couple of days, 3 days, I'll eat the loaf.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we had some bread left over, and we sat there and ate it again.
All right, but maybe not a whole loaf in one sitting.
No, that's too much.
Don writes, my wife wants to keep the thermostat at 70. I want it at 68. What do you think we should try to do to make us both happy?
First of all, what's the difference of 2 degrees? You know, what's the big deal? Why does he make...
Difference.
What, Joanne?
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Well, okay, so she wants 70. He wants 68. Do you think that they should 69?
Yes.
Hey, if it's cold enough, keep it at 70. I don't care.
They're talking to you, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like the house to be just generally warm.
Right. But what's
68 or 79 or 120,
Yeah.
it don't matter. As long as it's a decent launch that I'm comfortable with it don't matter.
So you don't think they should 69?
It just depends on the individual's taste, of what kind of temperature they want.
All right. Very good. I think he's going to have to come up with something based on that.
No, I can't help them as far as give them an opinion. What they should have. What is it, Joanne?
What's the difference?
What's
Yeah,
the difference?
if you split the difference, it's 69, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. That's what you do.
Okay.
Amy writes, do you remember what you thought when Eric said he wanted to be a radio star?
Oh, my gosh. No, I don't remember that. But I do know that I was really proud of him.
She also asked, what did you think Eric would be when he grew up? Like, when I'm growing up and making my way through high school and even before that, did it ever occur to you what I don't remember ever having any idea of what I ever wanted to do.
I have no clue, really. I wanted him to go to college. I wanted you to go to college.
The only reason why I went to college is because everybody told me to go to college.
Right.
Well, yeah, I thought it was a very significant item that have the education.
Yeah, he wouldn't have met Diana.
Yeah.
Thank God I went.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
I'm writing this down. College is a significant item.
Yes. In education. Now, the education could be any type of a thing as far as that goes, but scholastically, that's the best thing in the world.
Maureen has a question. She writes, Happy New Year. Did you and Joanne make any New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, we went to bed early.
Did you hear that?
Went to bed early, she said.
So we just went to bed early. No, I don't think we made any resolution that I know of.
If you made a resolution of not shoveling any more snow, do you think that would be a good idea?
No, because I will shovel snow.
You told me that when I was at your house that you're not going to shovel snow.
No, I have a different style of shoveling.
Oh, really? You changed your mind?
Yeah.
The style made you fall on your face.
Yeah, the style is...
Hey, that was as freaky could have been.
Is that right? You think so, huh?
Yes.
Well,
when you put your shovel down on the cement and just walk behind it, you're not going to fall.
I don't know. Well, I'm hoping that you just stay inside and relax.
No. Well, I don't know what I'll do. Just hang in there.
All right. We'll come back to that.
This was as freaky could have been.
Well, I'm tired of your freaky.
Yeah, no more free. If you're gonna go be freaky with your wife.
Well, all right. I don't want to hurt her feelings.
No, yeah, you got
me in order.
This is my advice to you, and I'll leave it at that. Just listen to your wife, and then everything will be good.
No, I will. I have no problem.
I have adopted that philosophy, and so should everyone.
Because my back is still hurting. So
there you go. You see, you don't want to have your face looking like you went 10 rounds with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, but listen to this. Would you believe that I have scabs pretty thick?
Yeah.
They all fell off in 3 days.
Well, that's not amazing. That's what happens.
I mean, I thought that would be with me for about 10 days.
Well, yeah, but you probably picked at them.
No, I didn't. I didn't even touch it.
Uh-huh. All right, well.
One of my kneecaps got a little scar. In fact, I'm looking. That fell off apparently last night during my sleep. Gone.
God.
All right. Well, that's a wonderful scab update.
No, my body heals in a hurry.
Yeah.
All right.
I have had a lot of reasons to be hurt.
Yeah.
And then it never,
Well, it does. In fact, if you were to go into your garage and find that finger, it probably grew into a hand.
That's pretty funny. You got her excited. Oh, my God. She can't stop laughing. Oh.
All right, Dad. I got another question. This person writes, Dear Meathead, I've been married a month. The other night, he writes, I discovered my wife uses mayonnaise to help make her hair grow faster. She claims a lot of other women do it as well. Dear Meathead, how do I get her to stop using mayonnaise on her hair because I don't want to smell it?
Put a slice of bread on it.
Did you hear what you answered?
Put a slice of bread on it?
Slice of bread on it. No, I don't know. That sounds ridiculous.
It does sound ridiculous. I don't even know if I believe that.
Wow. No, they got all kinds of creams and stuff like that out there just made just for that. So why not go and use some of that instead of mayonnaise?
Rob writes, and this is our final question, Dad. Recently, I noticed I've been swearing a lot, and then it hit me. What is your opinion on using bad language, Dad?
I hate profanity. I literally hate. If you were my friend, and were talking to me, you only needed to use it one time. You'd be done with me.
Okay.
I do not like profanity.
Yeah. He continues. He says, for some reason, though, Meathead, it makes me laugh when someone drops a nasty word. And then he says,
I'd keep away from him.
And then he says, what is your favorite curse word?
I don't have one.
You don't have one? Of course not. That would be crazy.
Oh, all right. I don't know if I can say this on the phone or on TV or not, but it's not a dirty word.
Yeah.
The word shit. Oh, shit.
Well, yeah, I think
say that.
I think that is a dirty word, Dad.
Yeah,
Well,
it is a swear word.
But I seldom say it.
Oh, okay. All right, so all those really bad ones, we're going to avoid those. But shit is good. You could walk up to McDonald's and say, yeah, I'll take that pile of shit.
Yeah. Or I can say caca.
Okay. Give me some shit, you could say.
Now, why would you say that?
I don't know. I'm just.
What would you order that's got that word?
Hey, you're the one that said it. I'm just taking your words.
I mean, I said that's what I might use or I will use.
All right. I got you.
Oh, shit. You know?
Oh, yeah, you might say it that way. Oh, shit. You know, like you're...
I do. That's what I do.
Right. So when your face hits the concrete, you're like, shit.
I didn't have a chance to say oh, shit.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll wrap it up with knowing that college is a significant item.
Yes.
I know about the scabs and your healing powers, your amazing healing powers.
Yes.
And that's Dad. That's all I have for you. Do you have any things to say in closing, Dad?
And in reference to that healing power, I can dance a jig right now.
Of course, you can dance a jig. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
I'm telling you, I got one little tiny little spot on my kneecap.
Right. Well, I've seen you dance at the wedding, Jackie's wedding, and there you were out there. That was great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it sure was.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys so very much. Everyone loves you. And you know what today is? Today is the 4-year anniversary from the last radio place that fired me.
Oh, my gosh.
It was because of that firing that this podcast started.
I'll tell you what, I was so disappointed in your idiots that you had a job from them because you were such a magnificent radio guy.
Oh, it's fine. I still have this, and this is going just great.
You sure do.
Okay. Well,
all right.
Yeah, I love you guys.
Hello to the family, especially your dear wife. She's a sweet person.
Well, everybody loves you. You guys are the best. And I will talk to you soon.
Okie doke.
Okay, thank you.
God bless and stay healthy.
God bless and stay healthy.
Okay.
Okay, love you. Bye.
We love you, honey.
See you, Joanne. Have a good one, guys. Love you.
Bye.
All right, bye. There you go. Dear me, Dad. Another spectacular edition. Thank you, guys. I appreciate those questions. Amy says, can you trademark Fireversary? LOL. I think I could. I don't know what good that does me, though. Sounds like something that might just waste my time. Ryan says, Meathead hates profanity. Don't let him listen to more than 30 seconds of this show. You are right. There was a time when he did occasionally listen to bits and pieces online before he joined us, and he heard. And I want to have a conversation with you. Yeah, Dad. You want to talk? I want to talk about your language. Okay. All right. He said his piece. I said, okay. So what do you think about that? I go, I'm not changing anything. I'm still going to swear. Why do you do that? You sound like a trash person. I don't know, Dad. Chris says they are the best. It's true. Chris laughs at the amount of times I got him to say it. Rakeem then asks, how many years have you worked in radio? Boy, that goes back. Because, let's see. I graduated high school in 1988. But that school year I graduated started in 87. So that means 1985 school year, 85, 86. I would have been 15 years old.
Two Live Crew on 89.1 WPHS, your one and only rap station in the city of Warren. We're back after a long departure, 3.5 months to be exact. We're going to keep it going with Heavy D and the boys.
These clips will be an edition of Who Are These Zanes? There's more.
89.1 WPHS. That was MC Shy D. Before that, we had Run DMC Together Forever. We're going to keep it going with my main man, LL Cool J. I'm bad.
Dick. What a dick.
I'm bad.
You talk to the main man?
You ask for easy rhyme, you talk to the main man.
We're back after a long departure.
89.1 WPHS with the Public Enemy.
Yeah.
We're going to keep it right here with Gonna Get Yours. That was 2 in a row by the Beastie Boys.
Wait a minute. I thought you said it was Public Enemy. What the fuck are you doing?
Rock Hard and She's On It. Now here's Public Enemy.
Well, what is it? Hold on a second. Let me break this down a little bit. We're coming out of the Beastie Boys. All I need to say is Beastie Boys, 89.1. Here's Public Enemy. That's what I have to do. That's all I have to say. Beastie Boys there, 89.1. You got your main man, easy rhyme. Here's Public Enemy. And it's Public Enemy. It's not the Public Enemy, asshole.
89.1 WPHS with the Public Enemy. We're going to keep it right here with Gonna Get Yours. That was 2 in a row by the Beastie Boys. Rock Hard and She's On It. Now here's Public Enemy.
So I'm talking out of the Beastie Boys, saying, here's 2. Beastie Boys ends. Here's 2 in a row by the Public Enemy. That was the Beastie Boys. Here's the Public Enemy. Asshole. Kenny says, imagine if you tried doing black guy voice and radio puke voice at the same time. Yeah, because when I went to Z93, I was like, I had developed that. On WPHS, it was more like my natural voice, but just I'm trying to sound like a black man. Yeah. Which is ridiculous. Amy likes present Eric yelling and swearing at past Eric and calling him names. So 85. So 85, 95, 05. Wait a minute. 85, 95, 05, 15. We're approaching 40 years of doing this. This is all I've done. Since that old. I worked a couple of odd jobs at a cabinet shop. In the summers, I didn't actually start getting paid for radio to my $5 an hour job on Z93. All right. I have a guest that I'm bringing in that was witness to the Fireversary. Witness to the fire. The firing, the change, all of that shit. I owe a bunch of ads, but I don't want to do them right now. All I want to do is talk to this legend. I had high aspirations to be able to do some type of radio with this person. But those ambitions were vanquished on the day of being fired 4 years ago to this day. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you Sam Mills. Sam Mills.
Hello.
Sam Mills, hello.
Hi.
It's been years, for God's sake.
It's crazy, though, because it doesn't seem like it's been that long.
You have done amazing things, and you have a growing family now, Sam Mills. Isn't that right?
2 kids. Yeah, 2 kids. Almost 1 and 2 years old. So I'm a little busy.
My God.
It's a little crazy around here.
That is exceptional. Now, are you at work right now doing this, or?
No, I actually, I work from home. I started my own freelance marketing after I left the corporate world during COVID.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's
been
exceptional.
great.
So who's watching the little ones right now? You are?
No, my mom.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want kids screaming in the background when you called.
Mom lives in the area now?
She does. She moved back from Florida. To help take care of the kiddos.
Oh, my God. Okay, that's great. I love that. That's a huge win.
Huge win. Huge. She couldn't stand being away, especially knowing my in-laws are in town and she would be the grandparent not around all the time. It drove her crazy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a power play.
So she quickly hauled back here and now she lives in Coopersville, so not too far away.
Yes. Okay. So now Sam, this is all remarkable because we have like 2 chapters. The first chapter was when we were both at Town Square, and I was on Free Beer and Hot Wings, and you were producing Connie and Curtis. Connie, God rest her soul.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. That anniversary just hit too.
Really? I didn't. It's remarkable to think that. It's just terrible to think that such a shining light is not with us. I mean, everybody loved Connie. There isn't.
I know.
No one had a bad thing to say about Connie.
No, it's been 2 years since she passed, and it's just, she was one of those shining lights, and especially in radio, she was a force to be reckoned with for sure.
Now, when we were on Free Beer and Hot Wings, when when you guys came on, we all had an idea. I for sure had an idea that show was very, very prominent and was going to go places. I think Connie was the big catalyst, and I think that bringing Fish in later on also helped quite a bit. And you were part of helping that show grow. How did that all start for you?
Well, I was working at Wood Radio at the time. I was the producer over at iHeart on Wood, and just iHeart was awful. I mean, like any radio cluster is, but making no money, and their producer left. And so I applied for the job and met with Tom Cook over there. And immediately Connie and I hit it off. And so got the job offer pretty quick and just help really, really grow that show here, getting on social media and just spreading the word. But, Connie's talent, she was so funny that it just really took off.
Yeah, she was very rare because too often, I don't know why it is, but ladies in radio, they don't lead. And I don't know. I think that's kind of strange. Honestly, it's very strange. It's sad that it's strange, but when I would tell people, they were just kind of like, oh, that's interesting. But you listen to her and you understand why she was the leader. She was just so smart and knew, when something was funny and when to do certain things. She was just a force. Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And that was a tremendous loss. As you guys grew, you then were kind of like, I think I wanted to get away from this for a period of time. So you actually stepped away and went into at M Live. Isn't that what you did?
I did, yeah. Family friends who worked at M Live kind of got in my ear and just looking to make more money.
Right.
And Connie was actually so supportive about it, especially the radio industry. She's like, yes, go make more money, go do it. So. I left and went to M Live, and from there, it was digital marketing that I was working in, and really honed my skills with that. And that's when Jeff reached out to me from Cumulus.
Okay,
to come there.
Cartwright's the dude that was there. He hired me there, and then the idea was bring you on in a capacity with hopes that you would eventually make it to the air. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the hopes. It kind of never came to fruition, but that's what it started out. Come in, help with digital marketing, help with social media. Obviously, we'd like you to be a talent on air. Let's see what this brings. So that's what brought me over there.
When you arrived, I didn't have much of a interaction with you when you were at Town Square. It was always passing in the hall.
Yep.
That's honestly, I don't know why I did that. I think I was getting to the point in my brain that we were like our own thing and we don't talk to anybody, and perhaps a bit of arrogance to some degree.
Sure.
Did that ever percolate in your group that maybe it came off that way?
No, honestly, no. And I think we were in our own world as well. Like, number one, it's 3 a.m. So who really wants to talk to anybody?
Yeah.
Or 4 or 5 a.m. And yeah, we were just kind of in our own world too. So, Connie would talk to Free Beer and Hot Wings more because she had history with them.
Right.
But, yeah, other than that, I think we kind of all just were in our own world. So we never had any ill things to say or anything like that.
I was always very suspicious because for the last couple of years before I actually left the show, I was not liking Greg at all. So whenever I would see him talking to her, I was like, what the fuck is he saying to her?
I promise it wasn't anything interesting because I could hear what they were saying.
Oh, okay, good.
Nothing interesting at all.
Oh man, I had an axe to grind with that guy. I've never gotten over it. It's still as hot now as it was back then.
See, and I didn't know Greg that well. I just didn't get to know. I just knew him obviously through Connie, but I didn't get to know them that well.
Right. All right. Now, but then we started to kind of like hit it off, and I don't remember what started it, but we always seemed to be laughing together when we were at Cumulus.
Well, what started it, actually, before I was even brought in by Cartwright from M Live, is you had a fill-in for a host. I came in and filled in, and I don't know how that transpired. Yes. I don't remember.
Yes, I remember.
But that was like our first hit off, was me coming in and being on the show.
Right. And I enjoyed that time together because of all the people that filled in. I was like, oh, Sam's great. Stu was really solid, too. I liked having Stu in there. I liked having you in there. And then as things progressed, you would show up from time to time. And then fast forward to the day, January 4, 2019. Now, I was sharing with the audience that we had many conversations leading up to that day because if you remember, there was a big announcement. They kept promoting, hey, we need everybody to be back at the radio station on January 4 in the afternoon for an announcement.
Yep.
And,
well, do you remember? I was filling in on the show for you.
Correct.
I don't know, again, why they had me, but I was on the show with you guys.
Yeah.
And you got sick.
Yeah.
So, like, we're doing this show. Everything's going great. And all of a sudden you look at us and you're like, I have to go to the bathroom.
Yep. I do remember
you
that.
Bailed and didn't come back.
And so then when I left, you guys had a comedian in, and Ben was, his usual awkward, hilarious self. And
yep.
You guys did your best to keep the car on the road for an hour and a half. Now I'm at home. Can you take me through the moment that I'm not there when doors start opening and people are being called in and you're starting to get an idea that something weird is happening?
Yeah. So we're sitting there, show ends. Ben and I are just kind of, shooting the crap, talking. And then we hear the news. And now I'm going to space on his name.
Marcus.
Marcus. Yes. Thank you. That Marcus was let go.
Now, if I remember, didn't he wasn't he allowed to actually say goodbye?
Yeah. So we heard it. There was a rumble. I think Travis, who was the producer on Tony's show, said something. He said, I think something's going down. Then Marcus comes in the studio and says, I've been let go. I need to leave the building.
Oh, wow.
What? And he didn't have time to say anything because he had to be escorted out of the building.
Walk of
so
shame.
He just kind of grabbed his stuff and left. And so then Ben and I go into that, little producer studio that we shared with Tony.
Yeah.
To edit and do things. And Ben and I are sitting there, and all of a sudden, Ben gets an email that he needs to go downstairs.
Oh.
And he's freaking out. And I'm trying to tell him, you know what? Maybe it's just them talking to you about Marcus leaving, trying to lift his spirits. I'm like, Don't worry, it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. It wasn't fine.
Oh, no.
I was very wrong because he comes back upstairs and he had the engineer following him. And it was very awkward because they were just like, you can't save anything from the computers. You can't do anything. You have to leave.
Yes.
And good for Ben because he fought back a little bit and was like, I have audio on here. I have things that I need to keep. And they just would not let him.
Oh, wow. It's like, okay.
So he leaves. And then that's when I texted you and I said, it's going down. Have you heard anything? Do you know what's going on? It's getting bad.
Yeah, and that's where I pick it up because I was laying in bed, the phone under the pillow, and you know how you can hear the vibration?
Yep.
It was you. I was like, what the fuck? And then I saw the text.
You're probably like, why are you bothering me? Stop.
And then it said, call missed. What the hell what's the guy's name? The boss. Jesus.
Was it Kurt? Or no, it was Bruce. Wasn't
it was Bruce. It said Bruce Law, missed calls. Like, oh no. And then I listened to the voicemail. Hey, Eric, it's Bruce. We got something very important we have to discuss with you. Can you please call us back?
Oh, no.
The fact that I screwed it all up by getting sick had to have been.
Well, and Lori came in right after you had left.
She did.
And where'd Eric go?
Oh.
Of course, I had my issues with her anyway.
Oh,
and I was
who
like,
didn't?
You're sick.
Who didn't?
She was throwing up in the bathroom.
Yeah, she, her and I. Oh my God!
She's the worst. And I can say that. I don't care. I hope she hears it. She is the absolute worst.
Oh, she hears it. I guarantee you, she hears it. And in fact, after I got fired, she tried to steal my Facebook page.
That's right.
When I got that back, then I was like, all right, now you're fucked. Because then I started referring to her as Cersei Lannister of radio.
That's right. And then do you remember our little loving name for her was, Steven Tyler?
Steven Tyler. I had mentioned that earlier, and she. So that hit her right between the eyes, and I know that because after Tony got shit canned not long ago, I actually applied for the job, and the idea was, well, I'll just keep doing the podcast and that. In hindsight, that probably would have been too much for me to do, because it takes a lot of time to do this podcast. So that would have been difficult. But there was no chance I was going to get that job because she hates me. But I did reach out to her, and I said,
That's hilarious.
I sent her a note.
I love that you just give no shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care.
I said, look, hey, I know things were bad, but I can probably help you if you need a morning show. If you can put all this shit behind you, I would love to try. And she did not respond.
Hilarious. That's hilarious. Well, I mean, after you left, things just really went downhill. And I had an issue with her because she kind of portrayed this image of, I'm going to take you under my wing. She was so nice to me, offered me support, when things were just bad, and was just, almost like, let me be your mentor type thing. So I was like, okay. Women in radio, we got to stick together type thing. And that switch flipped real quick. The minute she became my boss, it was bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. I mean, she wrote me up the day I came back from my honeymoon.
Wow.
Yeah, because I didn't find somebody to fill in for my voice track show, my little tiny voice tracking show that was on at 9:00.
Right.
And I was like, that's not my job. It's not my job to find somebody to fill in.
Right. It's someone, and that's true.
And I mean, she was, just a tyrant. She made my life. We used to joke because she'd wear heels all the time, and like the clomping of the shoes would give me like heart palpitations when I'd hear her coming down the hall. It stressed me out.
What's crazy is you don't know this, but 45 minutes ago, I said the exact same words.
You did.
I was talking about the heels and the impact that had. People would wince. We were all like, "Uh-oh, it's moving. It's moving." And and we're like, "Oh, where's she going to go? Where's she going to go?" And I have heard through the grapevine. Do you remember we used to have to fill out those surveys about and the company would ask you, "Are you happy working here?" And I have a lot of inside resources that are still there. And apparently they still lambaste her, like all the personnel anonymously. Just tell her they echo what you've just said. And how she's able to maintain stability there is incredible. What the hell is going on?
Well, and even as a boss, so then when I was laid off, this was probably 6 months later, if so, I don't even remember. But Bruce had emailed me, in typical radio, like, "Hey, can you come down at the end of your shift?" which was at 1:00. And I was like, fuck that. No, I'll be down right now. It was 9:00 because I just knew. Right. And went downstairs. It was a very weird layoff. Like, he just kept apologizing over and over. And I was like, I don't know what you want me to say back to you. Yeah. And then they let me just go back upstairs because the engineer was off at a different site. So I had full access to everything upstairs. Oh. Like, I could have gone on the air and just swore up I could have done anything. Yeah, that's a mistake. And my key card still worked 2 days later. And Lori I didn't see her. So they lay me off, and then I hear nothing from her. She doesn't come and find me. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't text me till 2 days later. And I was like, no. Like, as a boss, it was so wrong. It was so wrong. Man, Jesus. So that was that. I have a funny story about radio for you because it's become, a lot has changed since we worked. I mean, it was bad when we worked in radio, and it seems now that it's gotten even worse. Do you agree with that? Oh, 100%. Even my husband says, thank God you're not in radio anymore. And I knew you know my history. My parents were in radio. I come from a big radio family.
Yeah.
So growing up, radio was just this epitome of the coolest job in the entire world. And when I was going into it was right when things started getting bad. And my parents were saying, don't go into radio, don't go into radio, don't go into radio. But at the time, I'm in college and I don't want to hear what anybody has to say. So I went into it and quickly realized, how hard it is. And unless you're willing to give your absolute all to this company and work a million jobs for the amount of pay for one position, you're just not going to make it.
Yeah, that's entirely true. And I still have, like I said, people who I talk to, and I'm hearing what's happening, and I start to, I don't want to say PTSD because that's a pretty serious thing, but I start to feel anxiety and bad, and so it's I'm glad that I'm not. Have that specter looming over me. Now, it's still very hard to make a living doing something like this. It's a lot of work, but I prefer it over that bullshit.
Well, I mean, thank God. Think about it. Could you imagine having to go in there during COVID? And imagine that shitstorm, what it was. I was like, thank God we got out of there.
Yeah, yes.
Before that hit. And just seeing how I was shocked. I actually, because I'm so far removed from the radio realm, hearing about Tony Gates, I was shocked to hear that because it's like, here are these radio legends. I mean, LAV is now a shell. What is LAV without the main legends that started that radio station? And I know he was getting older but he's a legend at that station. And so were the other people they let go. It's really sad. There
was a time in radio when, you look at like on LAV, the air personalities, with Deb Hart and Eris Hampers, Kevin Matthews, Gates, Uncle Buck. These were all, and people aren't really impressed with that anymore. They don't care anymore. There's nothing that makes radio stand out. So it's suffering from multiple avenues. Content, the persona of it, the dollars and cents part of it is a real catastrophe. So I don't know. Is this something that just dries up and goes away?
I mean, I hope not. But I mean, to be honest, it's just with so much content out there now. Obviously, you're in the right realm as far as podcasts go. Because, I get in the car and I throw on a podcast and I feel like the morning shows and stations that are making it have gotten the game right before things started getting really bad, but have been able to grow and maintain. And now, I mean, syndication is taking over. You look at these stations that are big in Detroit, but they're also in Boston, in Florida, and it's like there's no locality anymore. And so I think it's like technically it's radio, but it almost feels like a podcast because it's being broadcasted everywhere anyway. Right.
Yeah, it's all being very much watered down, and not only that, but radio people nowadays, they don't have the willingness to say what needs to be said or take a stand on stupid assholes that try to tear down the United States Capitol or stupid Trump or bullshit like that. No one has the nerve to say that because they're always concerned that they're going to piss people off,
Well, in the day and age that it is now, everybody's so sensitive about everything, no matter what side you're on.
Right.
You can't say the right thing on either side. So it's like people just fly in this middle zone, but there's no content with that. How can you expect to connect with your audience if you're just giving this high level bullshit?
So, yeah, and which is another reason why I think that I was not cut out for being around radio, because obviously I would eventually have gotten fired because I would have done something that pissed someone off. It's gotten worse, not better.
Right. I agree. Well, and that's why, I listen to my podcast, or I don't even really watch the news anymore because on either side, it's just gone that way. If it's just this high level, everybody's talking about the same thing. Everybody has the same opinion. And it's just like I want to connect with somebody, and on the flip side, I want to listen to people who have different opinions from myself, because that's healthy. That's how we grow. When you're flipping radio stations and they're all saying, everybody gets everything from that same source, so it's the same stories regurgitated in a different way over and over and over again.
Sam Mills, you're fantastic. I love that you got the family growing and you're doing wonderful things, and you always had a unique perspective. I've always respected it and enjoyed it. You've made a lot of people happy by commenting on the show on this 4-year Fireversary, and I wish you nothing but the best and continued success, and I hope to talk to you further down the road.
I agree, and you're doing amazing things. This podcast is great, and I'm just so happy. I'm happy you got fired from that horrible place.
Yeah, at the time it was a little wonky, but it ended up working out,
It did.
All right, miss. Have a wonderful day. Give my best to the family, and I will talk to you soon, I hope.
Sounds good. Bye, Eric.
See ya. Sam Mills, just a start. It's like we had never... It's like 4 years had not passed since we spoke. She's just, that's the vibe I always got from her. You can just sit down and say, hey, Sam, what do you think? And then you're going to get it, boom, right between the eyes. That is a true talent. Doesn't screw around, says what needs to be said, and does it in an efficient manner. That's something that always impressed me and made me think, oh, man, she's great. Holy shit. Oh, fuck. And the idea in my brain was you had 3 people, Ben, Eric, Sam, and Sam being as versed as you just heard, and then Ben, who's just, I don't know what the fuck is going on, just this goof who is just hilarious. I think it was going to be awesome, and I had big plans for that, and boy, it just didn't work. Timeout on the field. Bruce, stop. You're killing me. Enough with the pause. He's looking at me like I'm a lunatic. I'm going to go long today. Blue State Rob says Eric, Sam, and Ben would be better than today's Free Beer and Hot Wings. That's not saying much. That's like an insult. We'd kill him, though. I can promise you. We would kill that show. I spoke with Eris Hampers just the other day. I'd established contact with him years ago. Sadly, some of you may not know, but Eris developed throat cancer. Never a smoker, by the way. And he has no voice anymore. His voice was taken from him. He's still brilliant, though. Deb Hart passed away. She drowned. Uncle Buck passed away. Gates is, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I was offered a radio job not long ago. The identities of these people will be kept on the down low because it's so GD embarrassing. Wait a minute. I messed that up. Deb Hart did not drown. Allison Hart. Wait a minute. Allison Hart? There's more than one Hart. Hang on a second here. I don't think her name's Allison Hart. Deb Hart definitely not dead. Sorry, Deb Hart. Wait a minute. Okay. A person named Deborah Hart from Norton Shores, Michigan is in fact dead. I don't know. Some chick who used to work on LAV did Allison Hart? Is it? Are you sure? Yeah, it is Allison Hart. My apologies. She did drown in 2011. I'm such an asshole. What screwed me up was the last name Hart. Where was I? So I was offered this top-notch radio job recently. Eric, we got something for you, man. Yeah, what is it? We want you to be the personality producer for the so-and-so show. Now, I've produced before. Kind of sucks. The idea was I get up real early in the morning. 3. Drive in and take care of the first show, which is kind of like, hey, here comes the traffic, here comes the news, here comes the weather. And then would go to the last hour of the show is when they bring in the wild card. This local guy who's a psychopath. And he's like an extreme right-wing a maniac, wants to suck Matt Gaetz' dick. Loves Trump. Hates everything Democrat. Love Trump. Fuck the Dems. Anti-vaccine. COVID is a hoax. Election fraud. All this shit. He starts out every show. Today I'm going to talk about how Trump won. Then I'm going to talk about how black people suck. Then I'm going to talk about how everybody who's a foreigner needs to be kicked out. Then I'm going to talk about I hate gays. And then transgender people should all be shot. That's the show. I have to produce that show. Said to the boss, I go to this guy who's in charge of it. I go, wow. Okay. How much is the pay? Because I'm thinking this is a $60,000 a year to start job. That's a fair wage. He goes, well, okay. I go, and what time would I need to be there? 5 a.m. What time am I out of there? 10 a.m. 5 hours a day. 5 days a week. Times what we're paying you. Wait, 5 hours a day. So that's 25 hours. 5 times 5 is 25 hours a week. You take 25 times the wage. Eric Zane, you will make an upwards amount of $300. And I'm thinking, an hour? A day? A week? 52 weeks. That's $15,600. Breaking it down by hour, it's $12 an hour. There's no fucking way I'm going to do that. I go, wow. And then this is what radio does. But there's potential for big things in the future or some ridiculous tinfoil hat promise. Oh, wow. Okay, hey, I tell you what, let me think about it and talk it over with the wife. Okay, I don't want to be rude. I'm being rude now, but I'm trying to be on the down low about this. Time passes. I call back. Yeah, just can't do it. Just can't make it happen. Some other lucky person is going to have to get that job. All right. So that did not happen. Thank God. I told Madison about this the other day. And she goes, that's what I made at the ice cream shop when I was 16. I made more than that. I made $12.50 an hour at the ice cream shop when I was 15. I go, I know. That's the state of the industry that we're in. Fireversary closing the books on the Fireversary for yet another day, for another year. Yesterday's Asshole of the Day brought to you by TC Paintball with Skip Bayless. By the way, people are asking, how come you didn't get Ben on? I tried. But Ben could not swing it. He works a job. And I go, well, can you take your lunch early? No, I cannot. I go, all right, well, I'll bring it up with Ben the next time we meet on the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. How does that sound? Thank you to Van Dyke Mortgage, 231-332-6505. Whether it's your first mortgage or your 10th, whether it's a refi, whatever. Get a hold of my friends at the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. From anywhere in the U.S., with the exception of Alaska, Hawaii, Maine, and South Carolina, 231-332-6505. Paintball coming up a week from Sunday. That is January 15th. If you want to play, reach out to me via email, eric@ericzaneshow.com. Want to get as many people as possible for a fun-filled event. Paintball War number 21. Lots of freebies to give away. A set of cornhole boards drawn randomly from the winning team. A $79 tune-up from A&E Heating and Cooling on your furnace system, so that's running efficiently. My friends at Irvine's Auto Repair Grand Rapids Hybrid have offered up a bunch of prizes as well. Excuse me. TC Paintball, fully stocked pro shop. Call and book a time today. TCPaintballGR.com. Hello to the Kent County Health Department. AccessKent.com/health is their website. Reach out to them to find out about the WIC program, immunizations, personal health services like HIV testing, all at the Kent County Health Department. I've got T-shirts at ericzaneshow.com. I do cameos for people. Cameo.com/EricZane or download the Cameo app. Cameos are so much fun, and it's been way too long since I've done one, so get after it. Mentioned A&E Heating and Cooling. Love them. 616-516-8579. Joe Martinez and the crew want to see you. So call if you need a furnace tune-up, and you do need one if you haven't had one in a year. If you haven't seen Joe Martinez in the last year, you need a furnace tune-up. Heating your home's dirty business, and that thing needs to be cleaned, inspected, and tuned. $79 for the furnace. You have a furnace guy. For some of you, it's going to be like, oh my God, I just lost my heat and I don't know anyone to call. You do. It's Joe, 616-516-8579, anywhere in West Michigan. Last but not least, Sarah Honda. All these great sponsors help make this show what it is for the last 4 years. Thank you. And please mention my name when you call upon them. Sarah Honda Granville, SERRA, HondaGranville.com. Test drive a new Honda today. Go in there, see one of the trained, fantastic salespeople that will help you. I talked to Brian Miller over there quite a bit. He's an absolute legend. He's the one I shoot the videos with. Shooting a video with him today, in fact, at Sarah Honda Granville, SERRA, SarahHondaGranville.com. Who is your asshole of the day? Let's see. We updated Damar Hamlin. Talked about the Fireversary, that legendary moment that led to this podcast happening. From anxiety and fear, this podcast was born. Dear Meathead, we talked to Dad. You had the clip of me doing Zane Adamas again. God, that's creepy shit. Your asshole today brought to you by TC Paintball. It's got to be the aforementioned Lori. After numerous blasts during the show, Sam bringing the heat big time more than me. She doesn't give a shit. You have earned the asshole of the day. Congratulations. You should be proud. You got it. It's an award, for God's sake. You know, I mean, come on. Folks, 4 years ago, fired. and I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. Podcast was born from that. It was all of you sticking with it. Even those that didn't stick with it, I'm thankful for them. Okay? To some degree. Kind of. But here we are. So thank you. The actual official start of the podcast anniversary is January 6th. I won't be here for that. But in fact, that falls on a Friday. So I will have a best of show, not the best of show, ready to go for you all. And enjoy those. So on the Thursday show, Friday show, and the Monday show, I will have not the best of the Eric Zane Show podcast. I will have a surprise or two in those shows. And I'm actually hosting the shows. Like I'm speaking in between the segments and mentioning the sponsors and things. So it actually is a produced show. It's just stuff from the past that you haven't heard of in forever. And I mean, it's something. It's definitely not a replacement for a current show because we're talking about current things on a current show. But it gives you some good insight, especially the show. A lot of the stuff that I'm procuring is from like the first 2 weeks of the show when it's much different, much different. Also, on Patreon, I am publishing some material that I came up with accidentally that I just happened to find from another era. And I'm making that available on the Patreon for you all. But I'll be getting up at the hours before the crack of dawn tomorrow and headed out to Florida for the Disney Half Marathon with the AT Children's Project. That is all. That is all I have for you. Thank you for making these last 4 years very, very special and no intention of slowing down. Please remember the sponsors. Call upon them when you need them, and please mention my name. Please support the show on Patreon. A $5 or $10 a month donation gets you all of the listener-supported, ad-free Patreon content. Thank you, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.